Yo, what's up guys? The Insane Game Freak here. So, E3 is about a week away. There's been a bunch of fucking leaks and rumors and pre-announcements for a lot of things, but I think we're about around a week away because I believe Microsoft is on a Sunday again. A Sunday or a Monday. So I think we should be good, and we know a few things about their press conference. So we're going to do them first, particularly because I don't think they're going to last that long in terms of my predictions. But we'll have at you anyway. So Microsoft, as of right now, has said, we're going to have a 2-hour press conference. Also, if we're going to bring up rumors, there's a rumor going around that Crackdown 3 is delayed because they were canceling pre-orders for Crackdown 3. And there's a hint and rumor that it's going to get delayed into 2019. Now, the problem with me talking about Microsoft is because people know I actively have no interest in Microsoft. Because Microsoft, to me, as a gaming company, has done a lot for features and has done a lot for online, that kind of connectivity. It's cool. It's not like they don't do pro-consumer shit. My issue with Microsoft is, as a gaming company, they add nothing to the industry other than their console being their, or at least providing a relatively good console recently. I wouldn't even say, because I think the 360 was an abomination. And realistically, motherfuckers allowed the 360 to prosper as well as it did purely because of the fucking feature set and because of like 1 or 2 franchises. Granted, the 360 at least understood and did jump to have games on your system that people want to play. But there's already been rumors, the Xbox One has had a pretty subpar life cycle so far in terms of new exclusive games released. You've had games get delayed, you have games get canceled. Now on top of this whole 2019 with Crackdown, there's rumors of Sunset Overdrive coming to PC. And it's like, bruh, what the fuck, what am I excited about? Especially if you compare it to what last year's E3 was, where last year's E3 was 2 hours. And they understood, Microsoft at least, I will give them, if I don't give them any else, Microsoft at least understood last year, you talk about games. Next game, next game, next game, next game, next game. They even kind of understand the concept of exclusives. The problem with Microsoft is that their concept of exclusives turn into Windows 10 and Xbox One exclusive, launch exclusive. It's like fucking console exclusive, although it's still on the PC. Like it's that, oh, we got exclusives, but they're kind of not exclusives because either they're timed, they're on the PC, or those are usually the 2 reasons. Or they're just multi-platform in general. The other, because that was the issue. It's like, oh yeah, you're releasing a bunch of fucking games, guys. You're talking about a bunch of games that are coming out, and none of them are exclusive to your system. None of them make me have to buy an Xbox One to come out. Then you've had things like Game Pass. Xbox is one of the weirder companies in that way, because they're a company that provides you all these different options. But, like, the option they never provide you is a reason to own the Xbox. Because, okay, fine, the Game Pass, cool, I have to own an Xbox, but now I don't have to spend $60 for your game. Which is pro-consumer as fuck. As a consumer, I understand. But as a business, I don't understand how that makes any sense unless you just have no interest in making games anymore. And that's what it kind of feels like. Because what are our predictions for Xbox Xbox this E3? It's gonna be another Forza game. I would assume we would at least see more Crackdown 3 footage, even if the rumor about it getting delayed is true. I would assume we would see some footage of it. A bunch of third-party fucking games, and we already got Gears, we already got Halo, we already got Forza, but they always put it. Forza's become a yearly franchise, so whatever. There's not a lot for them to like excite us about. And that's what trips me the fuck out. How are you this big wig company? You're in the big 3 of gaming industry companies. And when it gets to your E3, I'm not excited about a goddamn thing because either A, you ain't got shit, 2, all the shit you could do is already out, or 3, it's gonna be the same shit as last year, which is a bunch of third-party shit with some sprinkling of exclusives, or this fake exclusive shit that they did, where they think that putting timed and console, it makes it an exclusive. It doesn't. And then on top of everything else, the games they've released this year have all had like these weird, annoying as fuck problems. The 2 major releases we've gotten is State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves just seems like an unfinished game, or at least a game that hasn't been fleshed out enough. Hence why that game's being pushed with a bunch of DLC shit. And State of Decay 2 just seems like a buggy fucking mess. And these were the games they were promoting last year. State of Decay 2 got shown off last year. Sea of Thieves, that's like what, its second or third E3 we'd seen it at, and it's finally come out. I bet you it was longer than that, but I'm trying to give them some credit here. And Sea of Thieves came out, and it was kind of like, oh, well, I mean, I guess it's fine. And it did relatively well. I'm not going to shit on Sea of Thieves completely, because Sea of Thieves did pretty well. Just, it's another one of those games where it's like, well, now you don't even have those. And you already had Halo 5 come out. Gears of War has already come out. What the fuck else do you have? And some people would go, oh, well, they still have the rare IPs. Guys, I think we have all come to the agreement that we're not going to get those games ever again. And if we do get them, they'll be in a butchered form, okay? That's a problem, and it's very fucking sad to see those IPs get lost to the wayside. At this point, Capcom takes better care of their IPs than Microsoft does. Because if nothing else, you'll at least get a Street Fighter or a Mega Man reference in some other games. Like right now, if you look, I'm doing this to prove a point. Capcom is not what people would consider at high quality right now, okay? But they've definitely made a turnaround these last year or two with their IPs, especially if Mega Man 11 comes out and it's good. You have Mega Man 11, Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 7, what am I missing? Street Fighter 5, which they're still pushing and they're still putting effort into. They're not great, mind you. That's still like that's only like 4 IPs, but that's still a lot better than what they usually do. Which is, before that, all those IPs were up in the shit. We didn't know we were getting another Mega Man game. Monster Hunter was relegated to the 3DS, and although it was consistent, they didn't really seem to be trying to push the envelope at all. Resident Evil, most people would consider, was in the shitter until 7, or at least didn't have the same iconic. It didn't feel like it was. It didn't get universal praise pretty much. And then Street Fighter, but Street Fighter 5 still has a bunch of fucking issues. But at least they're trying to. They've continued to make the game better. So that's something. Microsoft is literally almost every game you were excited about, or there's not a lot of them that were actually inherently good. And the ones that were on better platforms to play it on. Tomb Raider, I can play that on PlayStation 4. Killer Instinct is on PC. Sunset Overdrive is literally the only game right now that I think I still can't play. And if the rumors are true, that won't be the same for much longer. Rise, they've essentially, and that's the other kicker. Rise, they've really said nothing. They're going to do nothing with that game. It's a possibility they could do a sequel. I don't think they're going to. From what I understand about Sunset Overdrive, I think Insomniac wanted to do a sequel, and Microsoft didn't care, so now that game is just stuck. That game is stuck in the position it's in because it's pretty much Microsoft's IP, which means it'll go the wayside like rare IPs will, and we'll never see anything from the fucking game again. Which is a fucking shame, because Sunset Overdrive is probably the best fucking game to come out of the Xbox generation. That's a personal opinion, and still. And Killer Instinct... Killer Instinct. The reboot was good. It's just, and it's on PC now. I just don't know if they have any intention of doing anything more with that. Was it last year they did the Battletoads DLC? I don't remember. That's the other thing that trips me out. Some people are like, but it's gonna be 2 hours. It's gotta be good. Last year's was 2 hours, and last year's actually at least had more games to look forward to. You have less games to look forward to now, and there's this idea that maybe we're gonna get a bunch of surprises. Which is, the potential is high. The one thing I'll give Microsoft is very different about approaching things that most people wouldn't do. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they put out a game next year that was developed by, like, a Nintendo team and put out on Xbox and Switch. Like, and that shit is unheard of. It's unheard of for a Big 3 company to contract another Big 3 company to make a game using an IP and then have it out on both systems. But you see how open they've been about Minecraft and such. I think at this point, Microsoft might just be only concerned about making money. Therefore, they might be loose enough to be like, hey, look, you can use Conquer. You can make a game with Conquer. It just has to be on both platforms. That's the trade-off. And then Nintendo's making side money, and now Microsoft has a game, but it's also on your competition's platform. Which I feel like a shame, because I feel like Tomb Raider could have been that for Microsoft, but it's a 360 situation where you got the game and you put the game out and it's an exclusive for a little bit. Granted, the 360 even held games longer for exclusive, but that's besides the point. You put the game out for an exclusive for a little bit, and then it's gone, it's irrelevant now. That's part of the reason why I don't really care for the 360, because by the time the 360 had built up a pretty good library of games to play, and then the PS3 got like all of them. The PS3 got all of them, and there was no reason to buy the 360 other than Halo and Gears and a few other exclusive titles. The other thing, and like I've mentioned before, the other thing I don't like is their unwillingness to appeal to the Japanese gamer. And that's not, and people need to understand what I say that, because a lot of people go, well, they get Japanese games. What do you mean? But they don't sell to the Japanese gamers. They don't push. There are still a bunch of Japanese games that only come out on PS4 and Switch. You know how crazy that it is? You have, and to be fair, these are lower tiered, more weeaboo games. I understand that. But the point I'm making is, as a gaming company, your concern should be to get your console in the highest amount of people's hands as possible. So it trips me out that when you got these weird niche games that you could easily get on your system, that you don't even try to get on your system, or companies don't even want to fucking do it. I think that was the case. That's the case with a lot of like NIS stuff, like Senran Kagura. Well, actually, Senran Kagura, I think, has only been on Nintendo and Sony systems and PC. I don't think it's on Xbox. I could be wrong, but I'm like 90% sure. And there's a bunch of smaller like Japanese titles that are like that. And the two reasons why they're not on Xbox is A, because they don't sell, and then B, the reason why they don't sell is because that gamer fan base, it trips me out how people shit talk Nintendo about how bad they are about appealing to different demographics, when Xbox's player base is known for not buying specific genres of games. It's fucking, I would not be surprised if Cuphead sales is higher on Steam than it is on Xbox right now. And why? Because it's been shown through at least the last two generations, that Xbox gamers don't play anything that isn't a shooter or a very high profile game. When you compare sales to like some of the top selling franchises between PlayStation and Xbox, it's always like the same kind of games for Xbox. Now granted, Sony's is a very similar list, but at least you'll see Uncharted, you'll see God of War, you might see Infamous, Ratchet and Clank. You'll see other games that Sony makes in there that aren't the stereotypical shooty bang bang games. Now granted, they do fall into that trope too, but like I think it trips me out that like, oh, the best selling games on Xbox is probably fucking Call of Duty, Battlefield, another version of Call of Duty, another version of Battlefield. You might see Titanfall in there, you might see Forza, and then you're back to different shooting games, and probably something like NBA or FIFA. It's like, and it trips me out. That's part of their problem. They've catered to, they have this fan base that's stuck in this hole. People used to make jokes during the Wii 360 PS3 era about how fucking Xbox gamers were a bunch of dude bros. And the reason why they did that was because it was partially because it was based off of the sales. Motherfuckers who bought Xbox 360s bought them for like 3 games. Halo, Gears, you were playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, that's all you were playing. I mean, in the sports games, NFL, NBA, FIFA. Those were the games you were playing on Xbox. And it was like, what the fuck? So anytime you threw out anything that was a little bit different, it sold like ass. Like, people don't find that a little concern. Like, people always want to talk about, oh, well, they don't have games for different demographics. Yeah, but Xbox doesn't push the games they do have. They have Final Fantasy. They have, though, I think they're getting Kingdom Hearts. They get these Japanese fucking games, and they don't push the Japanese games. And they don't sell them. I think on 360, the only game I can think of off the top of my head that was like a Japanese game was the Naruto game they had exclusive for 360. That came out, that was like the only thing that I was ever interested in playing. on 3, and it was a good ass Naruto game. But it wasn't enough of that. You didn't get enough of those kind of games, and part of the reason was because they don't sell on Xbox systems. I understand the nasty loopholes. The same thing that happened with Nintendo with the Wii U for a while. But Microsoft is also a company that's known for money hacking. And I mean, and I don't necessarily agree with that being the idea, but I feel like they should at least put in some more effort, at least pay the developer. I would at least do what Nintendo was doing, where Nintendo was essentially doing the publishing rights, like I said, what they're doing with Dragon Quest. They did with the Dragon Quest games on 3DS, and what they're doing with some games on Switch. They're eating the cost and the publishing rights, so those games still come out. Microsoft, you have the money, and you obviously don't mind throwing it away, because you've been throwing it away on the last, what, all the Xbox consoles? None of the Xbox consoles have made money! This is what trips me up. People always want to shit talk the Sony and Nintendo about that. And like, your company never makes money off your product. Part of the reason is because one of the markets they sell in gives no fucks. When a big selling week for Xbox in Japan is 160 units of the Xbox One X, 160 what? 1,000? No, 160. That's insane. That shouldn't be happening at all. And so when we get to E3, a company that's been known for this bad inconsistency with putting out games and appealing to different types of gamers and giving people a reason to buy your box, it's like, why fucking bother? It's like it's like, I'll put it this way, if Nintendo or Sony said they were going to have a 2-hour long press conference and it's going to be filled, you wouldn't even have to say the games. Motherfuckers would just start listing off IPs they'd be looking forward to. When Xbox says there's a 2-hour press conference coming, what is that? Well, you already put out Halo, you already put out Gears, you already put out Forza, but there'll probably be another one. You already got State of Decay out, you already got Sea of Thieves out. It's like 5 games you're thinking off the top of your head. And some people go, well, what about surprises? Every company puts out surprises. What major surprise did you really get? I think the major surprise of last year was Crackdown 3 and State of Decay 2. And neither of those games look good. State of Decay 2 looked like ass. It looks better now, but not by much. It still looked like a fucking PS3 game. A fucking 360 game. That's what State of Decay 2 looked like last year. Crackdown didn't look that much better. It actually looked worse than the last time we had heard of it, at least. So it's like, that's Microsoft surprises. And do I think they're going to have 2 hours worth of surprise? Fuck no. They'll probably show off, a bunch of third-party stuff. Some Battlefield footage, some Call of Duty footage. Although I think Sony has the rights to the Call of Duty stuff, so the Call of Duty stuff will probably be on Sony's platform, on Sony's conference. But fucking Battlefield, probably some DLC for some games that are already come out. Maybe some Sea of Thieves DLC preview. A new Forza game, and they'll spend 20 minutes on that and show off a fucking car again. That's my biggest hope for Microsoft's E3 right now. Don't show me another fucking car. Don't do it. I'm so sick of seeing that fucking car every year. And other hope, because I would say, oh, I'm looking forward to some IP, some revival of IPs. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make this the easiest fucking hope. Then it's the easiest thing they can do. Because it would only, for me, it'd take like 1 or 2 games. And I'd be like, okay, it's a decent E3 just because of that. If they come out there and they push a high-profile game, I think there's another game I'm also missing. Is it Anthem? I think Anthem is the other game I was thinking of. That hasn't been shown off since, so that's another game they could show. But and I'll end the video on this. The only other hope I truly have is for them to come out and push a high-profile game, like a major release, and it to be either one or two things: an exclusive or a non-shooting game, a non-shooting open-world game. It drives me nuts that Microsoft, of all companies, is allowed to keep throwing out all these games and they're all in the same fucking genre. Killer Instinct was only cool because A, it was a revival of an old IP, and 2, it wasn't a shooting game. So if nothing else, let it not be a shooting game. I'm begging you. Put out something that isn't a fucking shooting game. Because your fan base is so single-minded, it hurts. And it's not like everyone who owns an Xbox is like this. But it's hard to say that when the numbers show that literally these are the only kind of games that sell on your console. That's insane. You always undersell Sony. You were underselling Sony on some of these IPs on the 360. And you guys were in the lead for the longest time. Didn't make any fucking sense. So, put out a real exclusive and let it not be a motherfucking shooting game. Or like an open world adventure game. Give me something that looks different. I mean, the aesthetics I don't care as much about. Just let it not be another fucking shooting game or another fucking game that's online focused. Give me a single player experience. Because Nintendo and Sony have both shown you those games sell. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. This is probably kind of a rant. I don't care. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Game Freak. I think I'm just going to put this up and not even edit it. I think you guys might be more entertained by a raw, uncut video. Because this got a lot more heated than I was expecting it to. So, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Life's a gameplay to win. And I will be back sometime next week to put out Sony's predictions. And then at the end of the day, Nintendo's. Now, if you've already seen the Juices Loose podcast, you've seen some of these predictions. If you haven't, look forward to the next few days. Life's a game. Play to win. Peace. Oh. Hey, oh. Hey, oh. Hey, oh. Hey, oh. Oh, oh, oh.